Okay, guys, welcome back to the Beginner's Trading Series. In this episode, we're going to be talking about support and resistance. Now, support and resistance are essentially your high and your low. So when people say buy when it's low, sell when it's high, they're essentially talking about these support and resistance levels. Um, so the low, right? The low can be considered in this time frame right here. Right? Let's just take this out of the equation right here. What is the low? Well, the low is right here. And what is the high? The high is right there. So this is your support and your resistance is up here. And just so we could follow along, support, right? It's supporting it kind of like a floor. Support goes right there at the bottom. It's your floor. And resistance is your ceiling. Cool. So this is your floor, this is your ceiling. In a nutshell, that's all it is. It's just resistance, support, floor, ceiling, boom, easy, done. But there's a little bit more to it. Now, I like to think of these as areas. They're not just support and resistance, they're more areas of liquidity in a way. Because for some reason, and we'll look at it in a minute, but when price comes to these areas, it reacts. And usually that's because the big banks think it's a good deal, or it's just the psychology of whoever's buying. They see it get here before, and I guess they look to the left and then they're like, oh, snap. When it got here before, it went up. So, it gets here again, boom, and people just think it's going to go up, so they end up buying it, and it goes up. So either psychology or a good deal or whatever, support and resistance just does its thing. Now, let's zoom out. Okay. Usually, resistance is followed by it's a green candle and then a red candle, and that's your resistance. It's the opposite over here. It's a red candle and then a green candle, right? Because we're going up and then we're going down and then we go up and it creates that floor. We're over here, right? We're going up and then we go down and it creates that ceiling. So let me remove these drawings. Now, I like doing this on the daily time frame, and the daily time frame for me is just where I could find the major areas. So, right, if price ever comes back up here, that is a major area. If price ever comes back down here, that is also a major area. And I like having the top of a range and then the bottom of a range, and I also like having a mid range. So, looks like it's going to do it for me. Right here seems to be a good mid-range. Boom. And then we got these other areas of resistance and support. So this right here is a support. And this right here is a resistance. Now, what you don't want to do is clutter your screen with all these areas because it can get really confusing, which is why I said I only like having, you know, maybe like a top one and a bottom one. But if this is how you want to rock your setup, hey, do what you must do. I don't like having too many areas on my screen. And speaking of areas, I want to make sure this is heard that support and resistance is not a specific price point. So it's not 23849, right? Or it's not 24645.91. Meaning, if this comes here and goes to that price, it doesn't mean it's going to shoot up exactly once it touches that exact price. It's an area, right? And I think This is probably the best way to illustrate it. So right here, and if we zoom in, all right, right here, we have this area of support and resistance. And it's support and resistance because it acts as both. I like using the rectangle to mark my area off. Here, all right, boom, boom, bang. All right, this is an area. As you can see, it uses this as a floor. It breaks below it, uses it as a ceiling, uses it as a ceiling again. All right, and then it breaks below this, uses this as a ceiling, which is the other area. Ceiling, 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 used as a floor. So this is also a major area here because the more touches it has in one area, the more stronger of a support or resistance, or the more stronger that area is for liquidity. So from here, it went all the way down here. This is also another area right there. Like these things are everywhere if you just look for them, right? Boom, major area. It reacted right here as well. And then we got this bottom over here, which if you come all the way over here, we have this area now. So you see how things can get very cluttered and confusing. There's just the areas are everywhere. And if we look at the closest one to where the current price is, I feel like that's the best way to not get too confused. But it's really personal preference. So let's go and take a closer look at this part right here. So this is the most recent high, like ever. And this happened in October 29th of 2025 is when it was at its highest, the NASDAQ. And then once it had its high, it came up here, came down here, struggled a little bit, but then broke below it. Used that same place, right? Use this same place right here, all right? And then reversed. And this is why I mean it's not a specific price point because it might get close and reverse anyways. So it came up here, used it as a support, used this as used this as a resistance, used this as a support, came back, used that as a ceiling again, came here, tried to do it, broke below, then went up, used that same area, used this area again, used this area, used this area, used this area, went back up, used this area, used this area, reversed. And then right now, we're actually at this area right now, and we're just waiting to see what's going to happen. Because it could be like this part right here where it looks like it's going to go up, but then it just breaks below it. And you don't want to buy just because it is at this area of support and you think, oh, well, every time it gets here, it uses it and then it goes up. Doesn't happen all the time. It's just a good area to see where a move might happen because it can break below. But yeah, that's support and resistance in a nutshell. You just have these areas of liquidity, of support and resistance, floors or ceilings, that when price gets to it, it reacts. That's pretty much all support and resistance is. And we'll go into why this is important later in future videos and how you could kind of, in a way, buy the bottom if you compare it with other things. Because if you can buy this bottom and sell it at the top, you're winning. That's the name of the game. But we'll go into it in future videos. In the next episode, we're going to talk about candlesticks and what each of these little